The city was silent that night, but not in the usual way. It wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, as though the fog itself pressed down on the streets, on the buildings, on anyone who dared to be outside. Streetlights flickered, struggling to push through the gray, thick air, their weak glow casting long, uneven shadows. Somewhere, far off, a dog barked, but the sound was swallowed almost instantly by the mist. Lila walked home, her coat pulled tight around her shoulders. She had taken this route countless times, but tonight it felt different. The alleys seemed narrower, the street corners sharper. Every step echoed unnaturally, and she felt as if the night was watching her. The hairs on her neck prickled. Something in the fog shifted, just beyond her vision. She could feel its eyes, waiting. Turning a corner, she froze. A figure stood there, hunched and still, draped in a long black coat. Its face was hidden, but the presence radiated something cold and wrong. She wanted to turn and run, but her feet felt heavy, rooted to the ground. The figure did not move, yet somehow it was closer, nearer, every second stretching like hours. Her panic spurred her forward. She broke into a run, the sound of her heels clattering against wet cobblestones. The city, once familiar, had changed. Shadows twisted along walls, elongating, moving in ways that made no sense. The figure followed, silent, patient, always just behind. Lila's heart pounded in her chest like a drum. She tried to scream, but no sound came. It was as if the fog itself had stolen her voice. She turned into a narrow alley, hoping to lose it. The walls closed in, pressing in with a life of their own. Shadows pooled at her feet, creeping along the stones, climbing the walls, brushing her ankles. Every step made the fog thicker, denser, suffocating. Then the ground shifted beneath her. The cobblestones warped, rising like jagged teeth. Lila tripped, landing hard on the cold, wet stones. The figure loomed above her now. She could see nothing of its face, yet she felt its gaze bore into her. She scrambled to her feet and ran blindly, the fog curling around her like fingers. The city itself seemed to bend and twist. Streets led nowhere. Doors appeared where walls should be. Windows opened into rooms filled with motionless figures, staring, waiting. Their eyes were hollow, mouths frozen in silent screams. The whispers began then, soft fears to chorus of voices calling her name. Aubert and Aubert, echoing off walls that did not exist before. She fled into what she hoped was a square, but the familiar fountain had disappeared, replaced by a pool of black water, its surface rippling as though alive. Pale hands emerged, long fingers grasping, reaching. Lila stumbled back, but the ground gave way beneath her, pulling her. The water! She fell, hands flailing, and the shadows laughed a low, echoing sound that vibrated in her chest. Under the water, faces appeared, screaming silently, mouths opening and closing in a soundless chorus. Lila tried to fight, but the hands were too many, too strong. They wrapped around her arms and legs, pulling her deeper. She could feel the chill seeping into her bones, the blackness stretching into infinity. Every struggle seemed to make it worse. Every scream went unheard. When she finally broke through a surface ore, maybe it was just another illusion. The city had changed again. The streets were unfamiliar, twisted versions of what she knew. Buildings leaned unnaturally, shadows crawling along their edges. Windows flickered with pale faces, staring at her, whispering. She ran, but every turn brought her back to the same square, the same black pool, the same unseen figure in the black coat. Time lost meaning. Minutes or hours, it was impossible to tell. The city, the fog, the shadows, they had swallowed everything. She tried to scream, to call for help, but the mist stole her voice again, and then she saw them, dozens of figures, pale, hollow-eyed, some moving, some frozen, all staring at her. They whispered in unison, her name, beckoning her closer, pulling her toward the pool. The figure in the black coat stepped forward, slow, deliberate, reaching a gloved hand toward her. Its presence was suffocating, a weight pressing into her chest, her lungs. The whispers grew louder, faster, an impossible chorus that rattled her mind. She tried to back away, but the ground shifted again, swallowing her feet, dragging her closer. She fell into the black water. Hands seized her, dragging her down. The faces in the pool pressed close, mouths open in silent agony. She flailed, but the shadows were relentless. Panic turned to despair. She felt herself pulled into something deeper, something that seemed endless. The water became darkness. The darkness became weight. The weight became a silence that was alive. When she opened her eyes, the streets were empty again. The city had returned to its quiet, normal state, as if nothing had happened. But the alleys held a mist, and streetlights flickered weakly. And sometimes, just sometimes, a figure in a black coat is seen standing at a corner, watching, waiting. Late at night, when the fog rolls in thick and the city is still, a whisper can be heard behind you, soft and hungry. If you listen closely, it calls your name. And if you answer, the shadows will claim you, just as they claimed Lila, dragging you into the endless city of fog and whispers.